If you do this in your cabin, your steward will secretly mark your room as a problem guest. And trust me, you don't want that label following you for your entire cruise. I'm about to share 17 things that ex-cabin stewards told me they absolutely hate when guests do. And more importantly, the simple fixes that will make your steward your biggest ally on the ship. Welcome to Port and Passport Insider. I'm Sam, and over the past 6 months, I've interviewed dozens of former cruise ship cabin stewards from major lines like Royal Caribbean, Carnival, and Norwegian. What they told me will completely change how you approach your next cruise cabin experience. These aren't complaints. These are insights that will help you get better service, avoid awkward situations, and actually make your steward's job easier. And when you make their job easier, your cruise experience gets so much better. Let's dive in. Number 17. Demanding towel animals every single day. Now here's what most guests don't know. Towel animals aren't actually required. They're a courtesy that stewards do when they have time. But here's the insider secret. If you demand them every day, especially early in the cruise, you're immediately flagged as high maintenance. Sarah, who worked for Royal Caribbean for 3 years, told me, when guests would leave notes demanding towel animals, we'd actually coordinate with other stewards to avoid that cabin until the very end of our shift. The better approach? On embarkation day, simply say, "We'd love towel animals if you have time, but no worries if you're busy." This shows respect for their workload, and guess what? You'll probably get more towel animals than the demanding guests. Number 16. Tipping on the first day. I know this sounds backwards, but hear me out. Marcus, who worked on Carnival ships for 4 years, explained it this way. When guests tip big on day one, it actually creates pressure and anxiety for us. We start overthinking every interaction, wondering if we're living up to that tip. Plus, here's the practical problem. Cabin stewards often get reassigned during the first 48 hours as guest issues get sorted out. That tip you left for Jose might end up going to Maria, who's now taking care of your cabin. The insider approach? Wait until day 3 to establish the relationship, then tip based on actual service. Your steward will appreciate the fairness and you'll get more authentic service. Number 15. Using the bathroom while they're cleaning. This one shocked me, but it makes total sense when you think about it. Lisa, who worked on MSC ships, said, "Nothing makes us more uncomfortable than when guests use the bathroom while we're trying to clean the cabin. It's awkward for everyone." But here's what's worse. Some guests will actually start conversations with stewards while they're in the bathroom. Please don't do this. The simple fix? If you need to use the bathroom, just say, "I'll be right back," and step out for 2 minutes. Your steward will finish faster and everyone stays comfortable. Number 14. Putting wet swimsuits in the laundry bag. This seems innocent enough, right? Wrong. David, who worked on Princess ships, told me, wet items in laundry bags create mold and mildew that can ruin an entire load of laundry. Plus, it makes the bag smell terrible for the next guest. Here's what happens. Your wet swimsuit sits in that bag for hours, sometimes overnight, creating a breeding ground for bacteria. The laundry crew then has to deal with the smell, and sometimes they can't even process the load. The right way: always hang wet items to dry first, or ask your steward for a separate plastic bag for wet items. They'll appreciate the consideration and your clothes will actually get clean. Number 13. Ignoring the Do Not Disturb sign rules. Most guests think this sign is just about sleeping in, but there's a whole system behind it that affects your steward's entire day. Jennifer, who worked on Norwegian ships, explained, "When guests leave the Do Not Disturb sign up past 2 p.m., it throws off our entire cleaning schedule. We have to clean 15 to 20 cabins in a specific order." Here's the insider timing. Stewards typically start their rounds at 9 a.m. and need to finish by 4 p.m. If your sign is still up at 2 p.m., they have to skip your cabin and come back later, which means they're working overtime. The considerate approach. If you want to sleep in, take the sign down by 1 p.m. and leave a note saying, "Please clean after 3 p.m. Your steward can plan around this and you still get your rest. Number 12. Moving minibar items just to look. This innocent action creates a nightmare for your steward. Roberto, who worked on celebrity ships, said, "The minibar sensors are incredibly sensitive. Even moving an item slightly can trigger a charge, and then we have to spend 20 minutes on the phone with guest services trying to reverse it." But here's the bigger issue. Stewards are often held responsible for minibar discrepancies. If items appear to be consumed but weren't paid for, it can come out of their paycheck. The smart move? If you want to use the minibar space for your own drinks, ask your steward to remove the items on day one. They can store them safely and you avoid any accidental charges. Win-win. Number 11. Leaving personal items on the balcony during cleaning time. Your steward needs to clean and inspect your balcony for safety reasons. It's actually a maritime requirement. But when your towels, books, and drinks are scattered everywhere, they can't do their job properly. Carlos, who worked on Royal Caribbean, told me we'd have to move guest items, clean around them, then put everything back exactly where it was. One wrong move and guests would complain that we touched their stuff. The easy solution? When you see your steward's cart in the hallway, just bring your balcony items inside for 10 minutes. Your steward can clean properly, and your items stay exactly where you want them. Number 10. Changing bed configurations without notice. This one's huge. Most cabins can be set up with either 2 twin beds or 1 king bed, but changing this requires completely rebuilding the bed frame. It's not just moving mattresses around. Elena, who worked on Disney ships, explained, when guests would suddenly decide they wanted the beds separated after we'd already made up the king configuration, it meant tearing apart everything and starting over. That's 15 minutes we don't have. The right way? Decide on your bed configuration before embarkation or during the first day, then stick with it. If you absolutely must change, give your steward 24 hours notice and offer to help or tip extra for the inconvenience. Number 9. Hoarding bathroom supplies like you're preparing for the apocalypse. Look, I get it. Cruise ship shampoo is actually pretty good quality. But when you take every single bottle and towel, you're creating problems for your steward and other guests. Miguel, who worked on Princess ships, told me, some guests would take 20 towels and hide them in their luggage. Then we'd run out of supplies for other cabins, and those guests would complain to guest services about poor service. The balanced approach? Take what you need for the day, maybe one extra set. If you want extra supplies for home, ask your steward directly. They often have extras they can give you without affecting other guests. Number 8. Treating room service delivery like a hotel. On cruise ships, your cabin steward often coordinates with room service, and how you treat the delivery person directly affects your steward's reputation. Antonio, who worked on Norwegian ships, said, when guests were rude to room service or didn't tip them, word got back to us. We'd be less likely to go the extra mile for those cabins because we knew they didn't respect the crew. Here's the insider tip. Always tip room service delivery, even if it's just $2 to $3. And here's the secret. If you tip well and are polite, room service will often coordinate with your steward to bring extra amenities or prioritize your future orders. Number 7. Not realizing how much sound travels between cabins. Cruise ship walls are thinner than you think, and your steward hears everything, including complaints from your neighbors about noise. Patricia, who worked on Carnival ships, said, we'd get calls from neighboring cabins complaining about loud guests, and then we'd have to play mediator. It's not in our job description, but we're the ones who have to deal with it. The considerate approach? Keep TV volume reasonable, especially after 10 p.m. If you're having a balcony party, invite your neighbors or at least give them a heads up. Your steward will thank you for preventing complaints. Number 6. Creating a luggage obstacle course in your cabin. Your steward needs to vacuum, dust, and move around your entire cabin efficiently. When suitcases are blocking pathways or spread across the floor, it turns a 15-minute cleaning into a 30-minute ordeal. James, who worked on Royal Caribbean, told me, some cabins looked like a luggage bomb went off. We'd have to move 4 to 5 suitcases just to vacuum a small area, then put everything back exactly where it was. The steward-friendly approach? Unpack within the first 2 days and store empty luggage under the bed or in the closet. If you must keep luggage out, stack it neatly in one corner. Your steward can clean efficiently and you'll have more space to enjoy your cabin. Number 5. Abusing the complimentary coffee and snacks. Most cabins come with a coffee maker and some basic amenities, but some guests treat this like an all-you-can-eat buffet for their entire extended family. Rosa, who worked on MSC ships, said, we'd have guests who would take coffee pods and snacks for 20 people, then demand we restock daily. We only get a certain allocation per cabin, and when it's gone, it's gone. The respectful approach? Use amenities for the people actually staying in your cabin. If you want extra for friends or family in other cabins, ask your steward if it's possible and offer to pay for extras. They'll appreciate your honesty and often find creative solutions. Number 4. Using your own cleaning products in the cabin. This might seem helpful, but it actually creates serious problems. Cruise ships have strict protocols about which chemicals can be used, and mixing products can create dangerous reactions. Kevin, who worked on Princess ships, explained, guests would spray Febreze or use their own bathroom cleaners. Then we'd come in with our industrial products. The chemical mixing would create fumes that made us sick, and we'd have to evacuate the cabin. The safe approach? Let your steward handle all cleaning with their approved products. If you have specific needs, like allergies to certain scents, tell your steward on day one. They have alternative products and can accommodate your needs safely. Number 3. Playing games with gratuities to get better service. Some guests think they're being clever by promising big tips for special treatment, but this strategy always backfires. Monica, who worked on Norwegian ships, said, when guests would say things like, "I'll tip you really well if you do this," it felt manipulative. We'd provide standard service and nothing more because we couldn't trust if they'd actually follow through. The professional approach? Provide consistent, reasonable tips based on good service. Your steward will respect your straightforward approach and provide consistently excellent service because they trust your fare. Number 2. Treating your steward like your personal friend instead of a hospitality professional. While it's great to be friendly, some guests cross professional boundaries in ways that make stewards uncomfortable. Fernando, who worked on celebrity ships, told me, guests would ask personal questions about our families, our money, our living conditions on the ship. They meant well, but it put us in awkward positions where we couldn't be honest without potentially offending them. The respectful approach? Be warm and friendly, but keep conversations focused on your cruise experience and their professional expertise. Ask about ship recommendations, not personal details. This maintains the professional relationship that actually gets you better service. And number 1, the thing cabin stewards hate most: leaving your cabin in a deliberately messy state because it's their job to clean it. This is the ultimate disrespect, and it will absolutely get you labeled as a problem guest. Alexandra, who worked on Royal Caribbean for 5 years, said, when guests would intentionally trash the cabin, throw towels everywhere, leave food scattered around, make huge messes, we'd take photos and share them with other crew members. Word spreads fast on a ship. Here's what happens. Your steward has to spend double the time in your cabin, which means other guests get rush service. Plus, stewards talk to each other, and your reputation follows you to restaurants, bars, and other ship services. The golden rule? Leave your cabin in a reasonable state. You don't need to make the bed or deep clean, but basic respect goes a long way. Pick up personal items, don't leave food everywhere, and treat the space like you'd want your own home treated. Quick bonus round. 3 things that will instantly make you a favorite guest. First, learn your steward's name and use it. Second, if you're happy with service, mention it to guest services. Positive feedback means everything to crew members. Third, if you have dietary restrictions or special needs, communicate them clearly on day 1, rather than expecting your steward to guess. These simple courtesies will transform your cabin experience. All right, let's quickly recap the big ones that will make the biggest difference. Never demand towel animals. Ask nicely. Wait until day 3 to establish your tipping relationship. Give your steward privacy when they're cleaning. Don't hoard supplies or create unnecessary messes. And remember, these folks are working 12-hour days to make your vacation perfect. The bottom line? Treat your cabin steward like the hospitality professional they are, and you'll get service that goes way beyond what's required. They have the power to make your cruise amazing or just average, and it all comes down to how you treat them in those first few interactions. If this saved you from becoming that guest, smash that like button. It really helps other cruisers find these insider secrets, and hit subscribe for more crew confessions that'll transform your cruise experience. Drop a comment below with your own cabin steward stories. I'll see you next time on Port and Passport Insider, where we turn cruise secrets into your cruise advantages.